Hello and welcome back to another video. This is the final week of Funguary, which is a challenge set by Fifal over on Instagram, where we are creating mushroom characters with a guidelines for this, all for every day in February. However, I opted for their weekly option, and this week's theme was based on cute and pretty mushrooms. So I'm going to list off the mushrooms. I apologise for my pronunciation, they are pretty difficult. So we have the Polychromos, I think that's how you say it, Mirandia, plums and custard fungus, split gill mushroom, the lion's mane, the wrinkled peach mushroom, the oyster mushroom, and the veiled lady mushroom. So I must admit, I thought I'd really enjoy these Funguary paintings that I'm doing, and for the most part they've been nice to do, but I don't know, I've just not really felt it. I've not really been in love with the paintings or the finished outcomes really. And I'm not really sure why, and I think it shows because I'm not putting as much passion into them. I don't know. I think they look fine, like they look good, but I wish that I had a bit more love for them, for the outcomes basically. But I found with this set here, they are beautiful mushrooms and I can see why they sit under the cute and pretty, but like say the oyster mushroom is like a brownie shade. The I think the split gill mushrooms are a brownie shade, and then obviously a lot of them are like they grow out of trees, they grow out of trunks and branches, etc. So I thought it was a bit more fitting to have a full branch in there in the background, kind of similar to week 2, but because there were a lot more mushrooms that needed to come out of it, I made it a full branch, and I think that brown on brown really just didn't it didn't show very well, and I think I could have gone a bit harder with my shadows. I don't know. I think there's a lot to learn from these, and I'm glad I did it, and it's a challenge, and that's why these challenges are set to challenge you, and it definitely did that. I think there's a lot to learn with watercolours. I'm still learning with them. I've been doing a lot of paintings with them lately, and it's more so I can practice. They're not my favourite medium. I much prefer acrylics, I much prefer oils, but I've been really trying to push myself to learn how to use watercolours effectively, and I still think there's quite an art to it that I've not quite mastered, so please forgive the terrible watercolour skills I am showing currently, where I basically spent ages laying down that colour on the tips of those mushrooms to just add the colour beneath them instead of letting it dry and so it all just muddled into one colour. But yeah, I am learning, and it's been a good challenge, and I am thinking of making these into prints perhaps, so please let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in those. Probably get them printed on recycled paper, so there'll be a set of 4, but let me know if you prefer them all on one print. I'm not sure, I'm toying with that idea at the moment. But yeah, on to the actual process. I'm just laying down that flat layer of colour like I have in all of these Funguary videos, and then once that dries I go in with the finer details and I start adding more texture, more light shadows, just playing around with the shapes to try and get things to look like they've curved, like they're behind or in front, or like there's light hitting on them. I think one thing on this, I don't think I quite thought through all the light. So I think the mushroom on the far left that's poking out at the bottom there, I do think that I should have put the shadowing on the other side of the mushroom, but maybe not, I don't know. I think when you're creating, you're obviously using multiple references for these paintings, and all of them obviously have light hitting different parts of them, and I think it's very difficult to mash those together and actually create that lighting and shadows in the correct areas that are all cohesive with one another. I think that's a really difficult thing to do when you're using multiple reference photos on those, but I think it looks okay. I don't think you can tell too much, but I can definitely tell from the perspective that I've looked at all the reference photos, etc. But yeah, other than that, I think I can get away with it somewhat. But yeah, I laid down all the flat colour, I started adding these details. A few of these details get a little bit lost. I do add a few washes at the end, and I think that does hide a few of these details, which perhaps may have not been a good shout. But I found that lion's mane mushroom, there's so much detail on that, I just don't know how to replicate it. Annoyingly, I added too much water to my paint when I was filling in the veiled lady mushroom cells there, and so they ended up being darker, but luckily as I added in the texture into the branch, I think that kind of hid that a little bit. And then I went in with my Faber Castel Polychromos just to add a bit more colour, a bit of texture, add in a bit of those darker areas where I was not brave enough to do that with the watercolours, and kind of create a bit more texture on that branch. I think it's not very well done, but again, there's probably a better way of doing it, you know, masking off the white areas and doing a full wash so that the paint is all the same shade on each part of the branch in between all the mushrooms, because trying to eyeball that and adding more water or less water to areas can darken things and the colours don't look as cohesive, and I think there's probably better ways of doing that with masking fluid, etc., and I have learnt that, and I will probably apply that to my next watercolour project. But yeah, other than that, I like it. I think it looks good. I did make a few tweaks at the end off camera, and that's just adding a little bit of kind of definition to that veiled lady mushroom, because I think I didn't quite go round it enough and make it look like it's all joined into one mushroom. So thanks to my mum for telling me that I needed to do that, because I think by the end of it I was a bit done. So she pushed me to do that, which I think made it look a lot better. But I'm pleased with the result, and I will let you watch the rest of this video. I hope you have enjoyed this Funguary series. It's been a challenge, and hopefully we'll do a lot more challenges in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.